Hey everyone, welcome to My Rising Rose, where we open ourselves up to the cosmic consciousness that we are and unify ourselves with dragons and deities while remaining grounded and ordinary in our humanity. You may notice that something a little different is happening today. I'm in a different location. And the reason for that is that we've got some exciting things coming up soon. And if you want to find out about that, you can sign up for the newsletter, which we have in the link below. And also, if you sign up for that, you'll get something special coming up for Christmas, where I'm going to channel the heart chakra dragon, and he's going to do a ritual for us for Christmas. And of course, you don't have to be Christian to do this, you don't have to celebrate in a Christian way, but just because that's the background that I'm from, we're going to tap into that and find out how to turn the Christmas story into something much more personal about ourselves, so that we can make use of this time and the energies that are here right now to really transform our experience of ourselves and our lives. So today I'm going to do a channeling with the heart chakra dragon, which is going to kind of introduce this to us, and then you can sign up for the newsletter to receive the ritual itself. Also, we have the Dragon Medicine Group 1 and Dragon Medicine Group 3 are going to be opening up for new members. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that that happens every time we move from different groups of dragons to others. So Group 1 is moving from the middle chakra dragons into the upper chakra dragons, and Group 3 is moving from the lower chakra dragons into the middle chakra dragons. So Group 3 will be starting with the heart chakra, and Group 1 will be starting with the crown chakra. And you can read up about that as well in the description below. So, I'm just adjusting to this new situation that I'm in. I really like just owning everything that I'm feeling, and honesty and authenticity is really important to me. And I want to constantly be inviting you guys into the transformation that I'm going through, and to just be transparent about how I'm feeling. So normally I shoot by myself in my room, and I'm very familiar with that, very comfortable with that. And this time I'm in a very different setting with some lovely people, but it's a little bit different for me. So I can feel the kind of the tension of that difference, and you may be able to pick up on that as well. So I just want to be transparent about it. And one of the reasons why I want to be transparent about it is because I think sometimes people have this idea about spiritual teachers or people who have gone through spiritual awakening as if this stuff never happens to them anymore, as if doing something new wouldn't affect them in any kind of way. But it absolutely does. It certainly does for me. And I just always want to remain true to what's actually happening. So I'm going to start channeling now. I'm going to bring through Bal'thae'zar, the green heart chakra dragon, and I'm going to, or what he is going to do, is to take us on a journey through the Christmas story and help us to understand the spiritual heart of Christmas. But rather than me talking about that, I'd rather just bring him through and channel him so that he can tell you himself. So I'll do that for you now. Narayun. Yanaran. Our Narayun. Narayun. Alayun. Yanalayun. Aum. Nianur. Yanalayun. Yane. So I'm just bringing myself in. Gyanalayun. Gyanala. Bal'thae'zar. 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 Gyanalam. So normally Jack doesn't channel when there's other people around, so it's slightly different for him today. So I'm just bringing myself in very clearly into his body and mind and into this space. I am Bal'thae'zar, green heart chakra dragon of the rising rose, a part of the heart chakra of the cosmos. So I'm just opening up that field of awareness so that we all can reunite in this consciousness to make everything feel very comfortable and easy. So when I come through Jack, I usually like to explain who I am in certain ways. One way is to equate what I am to things that are present within your culture. So I'm a little bit like a doctor or a professor. So you could imagine me a little bit like a Capricorn, someone who is a bit more kind of a bit serious, a bit of a higher status, someone who is a little bit more formal than the other beings that Jack channels. But that formality is not the absence of heart. So some people might think of formality as if it is the closing of a heart, because so often that is what happens in your world. When someone becomes quite serious, they're closing their heart. But it's not always the case, and in fact some people who are quite serious actually have very open hearts, and they're just channeling the love of the heart through something more practical. So they're just channeling that love of the heart into something more authoritative. Maybe they're a natural born leader, or they're very good at organizing things, they're very good at planning and structure. And so their love takes that form, and you could think of that as a more masculine form of love. But that isn't the absence of softness or an open heart. So the open heart is also there. It's also present. The desire to heal, the desire to care for, the desire to nurture is all there. It's just taking a slightly different form. So that's kind of what I am. But I also want to just point to this notion of the cosmic chakras for a moment, because that's something that's very easy to talk about. It's very easy to say the word cosmic chakra, but what does that actually mean? What does that mean? What does it mean to actually have some kind of awareness of that, or a sensation or a connection to that? What does it mean to awaken to that? That's more what I'm interested in sharing with you. The direct experience of a return to unity between the chakra of your heart in your body and the chakra of the cosmos, which is vaster, much vaster than the chakra of your body's heart. The heart chakra of the cosmos is everywhere within the cosmos. It holds all of your heart chakras. In the same way as if you imagine a sunflower, you know how they have all of those seeds within them, many thousands and thousands. It's all held within one thing. So the heart chakra of the cosmos is much like that. It is this larger thing that holds the seed of your own heart. Why am I talking about this? Because I want you to have a sense of connection to this thing that is so much vaster than you. Because when you have that connection, it will make your life so much easier. You'll realize that a huge amount of the problems that you struggle with don't actually need to be problems that you look at all, and that life itself will solve them for you if you just relax and step aside for a moment. So that was my somewhat verbose or wordy introduction to who and what I am, but that's important because you need to know who you are connecting to. It would be most unfriendly of me to not formally introduce myself to you. But today what we're going to focus on is the Jesus story. And of course you don't need to be a Christian to be able to follow along with the Jesus story. Jack is not a Christian. And it's a story that anyone can connect to and make use of. And because at the time of recording this we're approaching Christmas, we're going to focus on the birth of Christ. And for those of you who look at the newsletter, there will be a ritual that you can follow along, which will help you to really deeply connect with this story in a way that makes it more real. But first I'm going to describe a little bit about it. But first let's sit in silence and allow our energies to settle and ground. Jack's body's in an unfamiliar setting, so it takes a little bit more time for his body to settle and ground. So let's all do that together now. Let's take a moment to bring our attention into our body. Feel the ground beneath you. Feel the sky above you. Rest in this calm. So for most of you, the Jesus story will be something about a special person, the birth of this special person who had a deep relationship with God and who came to earth in order to help people to move closer to God. And there's some truth to that as a story. There's a reality there. But one can also interpret the Jesus story in a different way. And instead of it being about a special external person who is separate from you, it can be about something that actually exists within you. So the Jesus story can actually be about you. Now, obviously not in the sense of having some kind of episode where you are thinking of yourself as Jesus Christ, but rather as an opportunity to witness the birth of the Christ child within your own heart. So the birth of Christ, which is of course what Christmas is meant to be about, but mostly isn't these days, but that birth of Christ can be about you. It can be about the discovery of your own Christed consciousness within your own heart. And the journey of the kings in this story can also represent aspects of yourself. It can represent the journey of your own physical, material self toward your own Christed consciousness, the Christ child in your own heart. Now, as I'm speaking with you, some of you will be analyzing my words with your mind, and that's fine to do. It's good to have an intellectual understanding of what I'm saying. But you'll probably notice that I'm speaking in a slightly unusual way, and the phrases that I'm using aren't typical for that kind of intellectual understanding. The reason that I'm doing that is because my words aren't the most important thing here. I'm sending the energetic reminder or the energetic transmission to realize what I'm talking about at the same time as I'm talking about it. This is actually what most spiritual teachers do when they're living in an authentic state of realization. They're just sending out the awakened state as a vibration. Which is why there are all these stories about mystics in many different cultures and traditions who would simply sit in silence, and students would come to them and sit by them and then have revelations and spiritual insights. Because it wasn't about the words. It was about the realization being energetically emanated from that realized being. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. So let's just take another moment in silence to reflect on this. So the spiritual journey of awakening can be likened to the kings, the three kings who followed a star to the stable in Bethlehem to give gifts to the Christ child. And you can imagine yourself as one of these kings. You may relate to some of the things that I'm about to say. See if you can relate it to your own experience. You may have spent some time mastering or trying to master this material world. You may have had some success with that, or maybe it's been difficult. But generally the focus has been more on trying to master that physical world for some time. And then at some point in your life, there was a call to something else. For some of you that might have been quite young. For some of you that might have been all your life. But it may have been quite young, or it may have been older, it may have been very recent. But you felt some kind of a call. And that call is like when those kings heard that the Christ child was going to be born, and they looked up at the sky and they saw the star. So that first moment, that first glimmer of realization, they see that star above, and then they have something to follow. For Jack, that was this first moment of awakening that happened when he saw a talk by Eckhart Tolle and his mind became silent. That could be said to be when he first heard about the Christ child and first saw the star. Then he needed to journey through the desert like those kings did on their way to Bethlehem. Moving through the desert, of course, can be likened to the dark night of the soul, or different struggles that need to be put in place in order for your body, mind, and spirit to mature. So it's a harsh environment that you need to move through. It's difficult to do that. But what might happen in that journey is that you eventually reach the stable. You eventually reach the place where your own Christ consciousness rests. And you may have the opportunity to lay your gifts at the feet of your own awakened consciousness, by which I mean the part of you that is one with God, the part of you that is one with all of life. Now what I'm saying might sound a little bit mysterious or mystical. You may wonder why you would even want to do this. But the answer is that deep within each of you is a yearning to return to this state of spiritual unity, and that in so doing, your life is made significantly easier, and the fullness of your soul is given what it really needs in order to live its true call in this life. So now I'm going to do a ritual. For those of you who want to continue on to the ritual, please have a look at the link below. And for those of you joining the ritual, I will now take you through a ritual to help your mind to embody this process that I've been talking about.